Steve Mignani here doing the Junkyard Crawl at Bernison Auto Wrecking, and I'm usually into American V8 cars, rear-wheel drive, but I appreciate muscle whenever I see it, including something like this, a 2002 Subaru Impreza WRX. Now, you got to remember that WRX stands for World Rally Experimental or World Rally Cross. You choose it. 2002 is the first year for the second-gen WRX, and they're always identifiable by what they call here the bug-eye headlights, which are very similar to the design seen on Mini Coopers or, the BMW Mini. But make no mistake, whenever you see this scoop here, you're looking at a WRX. Something kind of interesting, some clown has come in here and written here, Subaru, which, by the way, backwards, you are a bus. Look at that. Some idiot wrote that down. I think that might be me. But one thing, too, about these beyond that scoop is the fact these hoods are aluminum. Kind of cool. The fender is steel, clearly, but not the hood. And of course, when I see aluminum hoods, I think about Max Wedge Mopars, lightweight Galaxies and stuff like that. But Subaru WRX, there it is, aluminum hoods. Okay, what do we have underneath? Okay, we don't see the red intake manifold, which would tell us it would be an STI with 271 horsepower. The natural aluminum manifold says 217 horsepower, which is still a bunch. This is a 2-liter opposed 4, a boxer. It has 4 cams, 4 valves per cylinder. They're belt driven. Here's the cover to this bank right here. And being a boxer, which means 2 cylinders on each side, the beauty there is that as one cylinder is firing, there's an equal and opposite cylinder on the other side that's opposing it, so they're pretty smooth. Now, this does have some day 2 mods right here, the AEM intake system right here with the CARB EO. That thing right there, the California Air Resources Board executive order, which means that if you lived in California and one of the referees at the smog station saw this, without that sticker, they might send you home. But this car is in Massachusetts right now, although it lived some of its life in New Hampshire. We'll get to that in a second. Now, this engine is a very special piece. You got to keep in mind, this is part of the EJ engine family, and these things were anywhere from 1.6 to 2.5 liters, a very versatile engine family. Aluminum block, very modern design, but again, this thing right here, that's the magic. Now, the cold air hood through this rubber duct, like you see on a 1970 Chevelle cowl induction, this is sealed to the top, but that's not the carburetor opening as it would be way back in the day. This is the aluminum intercooler, which the cool air blows through that and helps to make sure the air charge is cool and dense. Here's the turbocharger right down here with this metal housing around it. The wastegate, that right there is what makes this 2-liter flat 4 behave like a 4-liter or thereabouts at wide open throttle. So 217 horsepower. Now, one thing that's seen on this car is the VIN, and I love VINs no matter where they are. And the high performance cars, I get all excited. Look at the 6th and 7th digits on this puppy right here. The 6 is a 2, that's the 2-liter turbo 4. The 9 tells us we're looking at WRX, which is all-wheel drive. And the H here tells us it's an automatic, which in my book, mixed bag. 4-speed automatic, and that's cool. But one thing about these is in Japan, you could get the Impreza, the base car, with just front-wheel drive. But here in this country, all of these, whether they're Imprezas or WRXs, or certainly WRX STIs, they had all-wheel drive. These things are traction monsters. If you're sitting in a 383 Roadrunner at a light, you might just spin your tires while this thing runs away from you. So you can't discount these Japanese muscle cars. Inside, take a peek. There it is, the interior. And there's the 4-speed automatic in the center. And again, I'd like to see the 5-speed stick, but it's cool either way. Underneath that center tunnel is a drive shaft, which goes all the way back to the rear suspension, which of course is independent half shafts, viscous drive. And again, all-wheel drive traction monster, this puppy right here. But something we do see on the door striker post right down here is salvage vehicle right there, that sticker from the state of New Hampshire. Now, the thing with salvage titles, what that means is that at some point this car was involved in an accident or some kind of a damage where the insurance company wrote it off as being not fixable. Well, along the way, somebody fixed it. Clearly, it's here in the boneyard. It spent some time running and driving with the salvage title. So the salvage title thing, it's either a tremendous value if the work's done right, or it's a car that you might be sad you bought. But here it is in a junkyard, kind of sad to see. Look in the trunk, and like all Subarus, big, generous use of space, very efficient use of space, actually. Here's the trunk compartment, the spare tire well. And, you know, this is basically a Subaru muscle car. I never thought I'd be saying those words back in the 80s and 70s when Subaru meant brat, that little weird pickup truck with no horsepower, no performance aspirations of any kind. But Subaru has come a long way since those days, and the WRX, especially the WRX STI, are great examples of how something very small can behave very big. It's a sad thing to see this in a boneyard, but here it is. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the Steve Magnanti YouTube channel. And remember, you are a bus.